I feel like productivity gets a bad rep among women, especially among moms. Because when you listen to the advice that you get from the productivity gurus around, you hear things like, disappear for 6 months. I'm like, disappear to where exactly? I have a husband and kids to take care of, man. Like, I can't disappear nowhere. It can't work. Over the years, I've seen so many people just lose themselves. I've seen people lose the light from their eyes because they're married and they have kids. It shouldn't be. These things should add to your life and not take out of them. In fact, I was there. I felt like my life was put on hold, like my life was paused because I had kids and I had a home to take care of. I have so many friends who feel the same way. This is not the way it's supposed to be. If you hear productivity advice and it feels like it just goes over your head because you feel like you have more responsibilities than the people dishing out that advice, then this video is for you. Over the years, I've found ways to take the advice but then put my spin on it so that I'm still being productive. And rather than disappear for 6 months, I can disappear for 6 hours and the world doesn't end. Hi, my name is Onajite. Welcome to my channel. On this channel, we talk about productivity hacks and systems for moms. Honestly, I think we are the most qualified people to talk about productivity, but I digress. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 6 productivity hacks that you can use as a busy mom from today and finally start to chase your dreams, your long-awaited dreams that you've forgotten or kept aside, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for your kids to get to college age and be more independent. You don't have to keep your dreams for the future, gathering dust somewhere. You can start today. Start small, but you can definitely start today. I've been married for about 10 years, and out of the 10 years, I've been a mom for almost 8 years. Wow, it's been 8 years already. And there was a time I felt as if life was passing me by, as if everyone had everything figured out and I was being left behind. I had so many dreams as a little girl that I wanted to see come to life, but I just couldn't find the time. I was always tired, always frustrated. There was one child on my hip and work demands and home demands and all the things. I started to get angry at life, at my husband, at everything and everyone, but nothing changed until I decided to take charge of my day and take charge of my life and find a way to integrate who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my family, with my job, with my life, and balance things out. It sounds like a tall deal. It sounds impossible, but I've done it. I'm doing it right now, and you can too. There are a few tricks I've learned along the way. I'm going to share them in this video. I know your time is precious, so is mine, so let's get right into it. The first productivity hack is remember who you are and show the world who you are. In order to move forward, you need to go back to the very beginning and remember your why. What did you want to achieve? Where did you see yourself at this point in time? By the time I turned 30, I wanted to be a public speaker. I wanted to be a role model for young ladies. I wanted to own a library. I had so many dreams, but I had wasted at least 5 years agonizing about how those opportunities were not finding me because I was stuck at home taking care of kids. That was completely wrong. I had to be putting myself out there. I didn't take the steps that were necessary to become those things in those years, and I spent so much time when I could have been investing time in the image of myself that I already saw from way back then. I'm doing all of that now because I know it's not too late, and it's also not too late for you. I had to remember who I wanted to be so that the steps I wanted to take to move forward will be strategic and informed. And that's the first thing you need to do. If you also had dreams like me of becoming a public speaker, you need to find a platform and start speaking. Whatever your dream is, you need to go back, sit down with yourself and remember, who did I want to be at the beginning? Why was this such a compelling dream? And then draw the roadmap. Where are you now and where do you need to be and how do you get there? After you outline those steps, you'll know exactly the next best step to take, and then you put one leg in front of the other. It will take months, years, but you would eventually become the person that you've always wanted to be. So my first hack for you is dream, imagine, remember who you are, who you've always wanted to be. Cast your mind back to that person, that little girl that had so many dreams, so many hopes, and let her dream again. I would encourage you to do this with pen and paper. This might be a very difficult exercise, it might be an emotional one. Sit with it, get it done, write it down, and then start to move forward from there. Draw your roadmap of how you want to get there so that you can even articulate the dream to yourself, to your spouse, to your family, and even have them support you on the way. Now, after you know who you want to be, where you want to be, and how you want to get there, you've outlined your steps. The next step is to find time and steal time. The most common excuse that I hear from moms like me is, I don't have time. Yes, we're busy. Yes, we have full-time jobs. Being a mom is also a full-time job. It can feel like your every single waking minute is consumed by one activity or the other. All those activities are very important to keep your family running, to keep your home running, or to keep your job or business running, but there is downtime. The time when you're scrolling on social media or watching your favorite Netflix show can be used to chase your dreams. I used to spend a lot of time in front of the TV watching my favorite comedy shows. I've exchanged that time for YouTube time right now. I also realized that I have at least 2 hours of downtime in the evening after work. I get home and there's this 2-hour period where nobody in the house knows who they are, what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to be. And I thought to myself, this is productive time. This is time I can actually use to do something. So last year, I started using at least 1 hour in that time to go to the gym and get my steps in, get my exercise in for a fit and healthy body, which is great to do and which is one of my goals. But now that I've decided to do other things with my time, I've realized that I can use 30 minutes, record a video, make a post on social media, do some creation before we get into the nighttime routine or any other activities take up the day. So there is downtime in your day. You need to find it. For you, it might be very early in the morning. I know people who like to wake up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. just to have 1 hour of completely quiet time without a child hanging on your hip or asking for something. If that's what works for you, do it. There are others that like to sleep late, so everyone will have gone to bed and they're up till like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. just chasing their dreams. Something has to give. In the ideal world, you'll be left all alone. You would have 100% attention, time, and focus to chase your dreams. But we don't have that. You need to make the most of what you do have. And what you have is 24 hours where you can find 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours to start to build your empire on the side. I encourage you to find those pockets of time, steal the time, and use it well. Which leads me to the next hack. Protect your time. So you found the 1 hour or 2 hours you want to use during the day, and you spend 30 minutes doom scrolling or replying messages, or my favorite, researching. Or someone calls and all of a sudden something that wasn't on your plate is suddenly urgent. During this precious time we have found, what we need to do is things that actually move the needle. Things that actually push you one step closer to your dream. You can split the time into two and say you're using a portion for research and a portion for action. What we're using this time to do is take action. I found out that even when I find time, I look at the clock and it feels like I blink and 2 seconds later all the time is gone. And that's because I didn't know how to protect my time. So I started using a simple technique called the Pomodoro timer technique. There are different Pomodoro apps on the Apple Store and Google Play. What it entails is that you put on a timer, you work for 25 minutes or 20 minutes as the case may be, depending on the timer you're using. You work for 25 minutes, take a break for 5 minutes, work for another 25 minutes, take a break for 5 minutes, work for another 25 minutes, and then you take a break for 15 minutes. And then you come back and decide if you want to have another Pomodoro session. I even use this in my 9 to 5. When I want to be serious with work, I use the Pomodoro technique. If I don't use it, I find out that it feels like time is flying away. The best way to maximize the Pomodoro technique is you have the timer on right in front of you. When you get distracted, a ping comes, your messenger dings, a child interrupts, a call comes in, you stop the timer. And when you're able to get back into the zone, you put the timer back on. That way, you're sure that you're using the 25-minute block to the full. In your first few sessions, it might feel strange, and you might also find out that you've used 25 minutes to scroll on social media instead of doing the work that you said you were going to. It also helps to have your devices far away from you, put them on the furniture far away from you, Just make sure that you're able to focus and you have no distractions during your Pomodoro time focus blocks. When you have the 5-minute break, you can pick up your device, check messages, and so on. Although I advise not to do that. I prefer to use that time to make a cup of tea or drink water or some other thing, so that my mind continues to stay in the zone while I'm working. When I'm done with all the work I want to do within the time slot, then I can switch my brain to something else and pick up my phone and check social media and check up on friends, check up on the family, and so on. Use time blocking techniques to protect the time you have found and do things that move the needle. Do things that move you from one step to the other. Don't spend the time scrolling. Don't spend the time researching, or as I like to call it, procrastinating. You're procrastinating, but you tell yourself you're learning. Don't do that. So we're gonna protect the time. We're gonna use time blocking methods to protect the time we have found. Now, I'm sure someone is saying it's easy to find the time, it's easy to protect the time. What on earth do I do with the rest of my family when I have found this time? Simple. My next hack is get your family involved. Let them know your dreams, let them know your desires, what you want to do, and how you plan to get there, and let them know how they can help. It will surprise you how enthusiastic your family members are and how much they really want to see you succeed. At the beginning of my fitness journey, I tried to exercise very early in the morning. Between time zones and time changes, I couldn't wake up as early as I wanted. So I found myself exercising at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. when my kids are already up and about, asking me questions or wanting things. But I'll tell them, this is my time, this is mommy's time, I'm exercising. After some time, they would actually join me to exercise. They would stand by my side and try to mimic the moves that I was making. Or if they didn't want to exercise that day, they would sit down quietly and wait for the workout video to be done before asking me any questions. It took a while, but eventually they learned and they became part of my process. Now they also ask for exercise videos. My husband has also been highly supportive. There are times when I say, okay, I need half a day to myself. He would take the kids out, they would go somewhere, visit a friend, play, and then I have a few hours to myself. I'm able to sit down, create, clean, which is what I usually end up doing. I had to be able to articulate my dream and tell my family what I wanted to achieve. They bought into the vision and they support me. Ask for support. My next hack is batch and scatter. Here's what I mean. If you're a business person or you work a 9 to 5, that amount of time where you're actively involved in your job or your business is already gone, which means that by the time you get home, there are things that you need to do. You need to get food ready, you need to get the house cleaned, and so on. There are some activities that I like to batch at home, and there's some that I like to scatter. My biggest batching activity is cooking. I love to batch cook and just store in the freezer for when the food is needed. I will cook large batches that will last me for 2-3 weeks. That way I know that I never have to worry about what my family is going to eat. All we need to do is get it out of the fridge or freezer, heat it up, and everybody has a delicious warm meal to eat. When that batch is done, I rinse and repeat. That saves me time. Besides the actual on-the-day meal prep time, it also saves me mental space. The fact that you have to think and decide what you're going to eat every meal time, 2 to 3 times a day, is already taking up a lot of your cognitive space and energy. You don't need to have such repetitive tasks in your mind when you're trying to build something. You need your brain space for creativity. You need it to imagine and expand as far as possible. Where you can batch your activities, and where you cannot, scatter. What I mean by scatter is many women have this tradition of waking up on Saturday morning and cleaning the house from top to bottom. You'd wake up at 5 a.m. and you're sweeping, you're mopping, you're vacuuming, you're cleaning, you're dusting, washing bathrooms, doing laundry at the same time, folding laundry. I used to do that and get super resentful when at the end of Saturday I am completely tired, exhausted, and it feels like half of the weekend is already gone and I've done absolutely nothing for myself. So I scattered the activities. I would do laundry on Friday, batch cook on Sunday, clean the house on Tuesday, and then do some light cleaning every other day. That way, by Saturday, I have little to nothing to do. I have time to spend with my kids, play with them, sit down, do homework with them, spend time with my family and just have fun. I also have time for myself to be creative. I can wake up at 5 a.m. on Saturday and face my writing and my other creative things and not be thinking about housework that I want to do. I've scattered these activities during the week so that they don't pile up on Saturday and choke the creativity out of me. Find out how you can batch activities and scatter activities so that you're not overwhelmed to the point where your creativity is completely dried out and you start feeling frustrated that you're not able to chase your dreams. Do yourself a favor, just go through your house and see things that take up your time and find the best way to optimize them. Once you find the best way to do it, that it doesn't feel like it's sucking the life out of you, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel better, and you'll finally be able to start reaching towards your potential and being the person you've always dreamed of becoming. And my final hack, please outsource. Now I say outsource with a pinch of salt. I relocated to Canada recently with my family. Back home in Nigeria, it was easy to outsource so many activities. You could outsource cleaning, you could outsource driving, you could outsource cooking. Now that I live in Canada, the cost of these services are astronomically high, but there are activities that can be outsourced once in a while. Instead of taking that 1 hour drive to work, you can decide to take an Uber and use the time to think, to write, to listen to a podcast, a YouTube video, or do some work in the vehicle, or even just relax and take your mind off the road. There are many activities that can be outsourced. You can outsource cleaning, hire someone to clean your house once a month, once a quarter, depending on what it is, just someone to do the deep cleaning instead of you. You don't have to carry all of it by yourself. Get help, get support, outsource. Can moms be productive? Yes, we can be productive. You need to remember who you are, find the time, steal the time, protect the time, get your family involved, batch and scatter, and outsource. If you have any more hacks that you would like to share with me and with other moms who are going to watch this video, let me know in the comments. I'm passionate about helping you be your best self, your fullest self, and live to your highest potential. If you've watched this video to this point, thank you so much for staying tuned. If you have a question about any of my productivity hacks or systems, I'll be more than happy to answer. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.